Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Hi, everyone.
Today we're sharing a story, a really personal one that a listener sent in. It's about their mother and a deeply unsettling experience she had with a fortune teller.
You know, it's quite a story. We're drawing this from excerpts from a YouTube video, which actually retells a post from some kind of online forum.
Right. So our goal here is really to unpack this account piece by piece, follow the events as they're described, and maybe see what cautionary notes, pop out about vulnerability, about influence when you're looking for answers.
It really shows how something seemingly small can escalate, doesn't it? Affecting the whole family.
Definitely. So, okay, let's get into it. The source focuses on the listener's mother, who, it says, became quite taken with this fortune teller called Pa Wan.
Pa Wan. Described as maybe middle-aged, 40s, uses a wheelchair, worked as a medium, did readings, rituals, also sold folded flowers.
And she lived with her daughter named Dream in the account, and another man, also disabled, relation unclear.
And the source really emphasizes how that initial connection happened. The mother met Pa Wan through a reading.
And Pa Wan apparently seemed very capable, predicted things. The mother saw her as a special person, developed a lot of respect, fast.
There's this specific detail, too. Pa Wan apparently told the mother they'd been a couple in a past life.
Okay.
And that specific idea really resonated, created this bond that went, beyond just a fortune teller and client.
And it wasn't just respect from afar, was it? The source says after only the second reading, the mother started visiting Pa Wan's house a lot.
That seems to be the turning point. From then on, Pa Wan's influence just grew and grew, according to the story.
Which leads to these worrying signs the source talks about. The mother, who usually worked from home, cared for her child. She just started losing interest in all that.
Her whole world seemed to shrink down to Pa Wan. The daughter, our listener, noticed her mom was never home.
And when she was home, restless, always thinking about going back to Pa Wan's.
Yeah, and irritable too, snapping at the daughter over small things, just not herself. A real personality shift.
It became a daily routine, right? Leave late morning, not back till 6 or 7 p.m.
Weekends, the daughter was often alone. And weekdays, after school drop-off, straight to Pa Wan's.
Wow. And the source even says the mother would have Pa Wan pick the daughter up from school sometimes because she couldn't leave Pa Wan's house.
That really paints a picture, doesn't it? Like she was physically stuck there, mentally too.
And it wasn't just time. There was money involved. A lot of money.
Absolutely. The mother started giving Pa Wan money, possessions. The source mentions these big grocery trips, thousands of bahts spent, all paid for by the mother.
So it's not just influence, it's becoming a real financial drain.
A pattern of provision, maybe even expectation. Yeah, substantial drain.
And here's where it gets really tough from the daughter's view. The mother started showing more affection to Pa Wan's daughter, Dream, than her own child.
That anecdote is just, wow, the big birthday party for Dream cake, food, everything.
And on her own daughter's birthday, nothing. No gift, no cake. She had to ask for 40 baht for a tiny cake from 7-Eleven to eat alone.
That contrast is so sharp. And the source is the daughter didn't think it was, supernatural then. She just thought her mom didn't love her.
Which is devastating for a kid.
Utterly.
So this pattern, the absence, the focus on Pa Wan, goes on for about 6 months.
Yeah, about half a year. And the family strain? Immense. The father's getting impatient, arguing with the mother because she's not working, not keeping house.
Her only focus is Pa Wan. The family relationship is described as being in the negative.
And then it escalates. The mother lets Pa Wan use their house as a samnak, like a consultation office.
She's actively drumming up business for Pa Wan, like a disciple.
And crucially, the source says the mother isn't getting paid for this. She's still the one spending money, giving money to Pa Wan. It's completely one-sided.
Apparently, she wasn't the only follower either. There was another woman, similar age, also devoted.
And the source suggests they were actually competing for Pa Wan's attention. The mother trying really hard to be seen as the main supporter.
Wow, that adds another layer.
Then the financial situation hits rock bottom. The mother borrows tens of thousands of baht.
Gives it all to Pa Wan. Doesn't tell the family.
They only find out when the creditors come calling.
Which leads to huge fights with the father. But that just pushes her further away, right? She spends even more time out of the house.
The whole thing is just becoming completely unsustainable.
Okay, but then something shifts. A turning point. Dream invites the daughter for a sleepover at Pa Wan's house. First time the daughter stayed there.
Right. And the source gives us a feel for the place. Outside the city, rural, simple house, metal roof.
Basic inside. Concrete floors, dirt floor in the kitchen area. Like a workers' camp, the source says, but big enough.
So the mother drops the daughter off early evening, but stays behind to talk to Pawan, naturally.
Daughter goes to play with Dream in the bedroom. They're watching TV. Then Pawan calls Dream out for something.
Leaving the daughter alone in the room. First time.
And she's a kid, right? Alone, unfamiliar place. She starts looking around. Curiosity.
The source describes the room as kind of dusty, messy compared to her own home. She feels a bit nosy, but she's just exploring.
She checks out an old dressing table near the bed, opens drawers, nothing much, but then her eyes catch something under the bed.
This is it, the moment. She sees this object just near the edge, not hidden deep.
She reaches down and pulls out these two small clay dolls, pressed together, tied tightly with black thread.
And the description is clear. Definitely not a toy.
Oh.
It looked ominous. Instantly.
Her reaction is visceral, intense goosebumps, face hot and cold, heart pounding, like excitement and terror all at once.
Even without knowing what it was, she felt this deep unease, this fear coming off these dolls.
So she shoves them back under the bed exactly where they were.
Runs out of the room, finds her mother and Palaling, and she's completely overcome. Just says, I don't want to stay. Take me home now.
The mother's initial reaction? Angry. Scolds her, calls her spoiled, compares her to Dream again.
But the daughter won't back down, crying, insisting, threatens to walk home alone.
Which, maybe that worked. Or maybe the mother just gave in. She agrees to take her home on the motorcycle.
Scolds her the whole way back. Willful, badly behaved, not like Dream.
Daughter doesn't even really hear it, just wants to get home.
The second they arrive, she tells her mother what she found. Those creepy dolls under the bed.
Mother scolds her again first for snooping, but then her tone changes. Asks for a detailed description.
Daughter struggles to explain exactly. But the source implies the mother understood immediately. Like, she knew exactly what the daughter was describing.
This is the other huge turning point. The mother listens, confirms it was those dolls, under Palawan's bed. Pauses.
And then asks her daughter, really intently, did you really see that?
Daughter says yes. Mother's response, immediate. Then let's go to the temple with me, right now.
Whoa. So the mother instantly recognized the dolls and their significance, knew they were linked to what was happening to her.
That's what the source heavily implies. She wastes zero time. Takes the daughter straight to this temple they knew outside the village to see a specific elder monk, the Wang Lung Fra.
They get there. It's getting dark. Mother calls for the monk. He comes out, sees her, and seems startled.
And apparently he just looks at her and says, do you realize, layperson, you've had something made upon you? Like he knew.
Mother hesitates, says she's not sure. That's why she came.
So the monk takes them to the spot near the temple canal, tells the daughter to stand back.
Minimal setup for the ritual. Just a bucket of water, a bowl. The source doesn't recall the chants, but remembers the monk scooping water, pouring it over the mother's head, chanting.
And the effect described is intense. First bowl, mother still, hands clasped.
Second bowl, she starts trembling.
Third bowl, as soon as the water hits her head, she shakes violently, like a possession, lets out this long, piercing scream. Sounds like agony.
And then she vomits. But not food.
The source describes it as thick, black, tar-like stuff all over the ground.
And the smell was horrific. So bad the daughter could smell it distinctly from where she was standing, quite far back.
Just completely foul, unlike anything she'd ever smelled.
Monk keeps pouring water until the vomiting stops. Gives her holy water to drink, warns her as she leaves, soaked, hoping she won't be subjected to this again.
Now, given the obsession, you'd expect her to go right back to Pawan's after changing, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. But the source says something amazing happened. She changed her clothes and stayed home.
And in the following days, no desire to see Pawan at all. None.
That's the start of the recovery.
Yeah.
The source says she began changing back. Happier, less moody, no irritability.
The arguments with the father stopped.
Of course, Pawan starts calling when the mother doesn't show up.
Mother ignores the calls at first, but then she picks up one time.
Pawan tries to lure her back, right?
Yeah.
Asking for help, trying to rekindle that connection.
But instead, something inside the mother just snaps. She gets
And
furious.
starts yelling, cursing at Pawan loudly. Everyone in the house hears it.
And during this yelling match, the daughter hears her mother directly accusing Pawan, saying things like, "Did you put something on me? Why would you do this?"
For the daughter, that must have been the moment it all clicked. The dolls, the behavior, the temple visit, these accusations.
Exactly. The source confirms this is how she learned the dolls were believed to be part of the influence, and the temple ritual was to remove it.
The phone call is described as this long, really harsh argument. Curses flying both ways.
After that explosion, they never went back to Pa Wan's.
Yeah.
Cut off all contact. Completely.
That huge sum of borrowed money. Never got it back.
But the source says the mother didn't even care about the money then. Breaking free was everything. The whole thing lasted nearly 2 years, start to finish.
Wow. 2 years. And years later, the mother shared more with the daughter.
Yeah, she talked about Pa Wan frequently giving her this red-colored water to drink during visits.
And after drinking it, she'd feel this overwhelming, uncontrollable urge to go see Pa Wan. Constantly.
And an urge to just give her things. Money, possessions. She said she even questioned it herself at the time, like, why am I feeling this? Why can't I stop?
It was only when she realized or believed she'd had something done to her, this Tan Kanlan, as the source calls it, like black magic.
That it all made horrible sense. And she knew, instinctively, get to the temple. Now, before it gets worse, irreversible.
Looking back now, the narrator, the daughter, feels incredibly lucky her mother escaped.
Thinks if she hadn't, the family could have lost everything. Debt, ruin. Just borrowing more and more for Pa Wan.
Doesn't know what happened to Pa Wan, but hopes she learned a lesson. Acknowledges that what was lost money, childhood feelings, can't be recovered.
The whole account serves as this really explicit warning, doesn't it? The narrator directly tells listeners, if you seek out fortune tellers, psychics, be so careful, choose wisely.
Right. Explicitly says some are ethical, but others.
Yeah.
Others might just use their skills, or perceived skills, to exploit vulnerable people for gain, like in this story.
The narrator really hammers home that this entire nightmare, financial ruin, debt, family breakdown started with just one simple reading.
It's a stark illustration, from their perspective, of how things can spiral when vulnerability meets, well, bad intentions.
They even add a short anecdote about another relative who supposedly fell under a similar influence, gave away all their money, needed traditional intervention to break free.
Which just reinforces the narrator's belief in this phenomenon and the seriousness of the warning. They clearly see this main story as significant, powerful, even without ghosts or anything.
And the final warning from the source is crystal clear. Be incredibly careful who you consult. Not everyone offering guidance has your best interests at heart. Some might try to exert harmful influence.
So yeah, that's the story from the source material.
Okay, so wrapping this up, what are the key takeaways for you, the listener, from this deep dive? I mean, the story, yes, it's rooted in specific beliefs about fortune-telling, spiritual influence.
But it really offers these broader, maybe universal warnings. It's a very vivid picture of how exploitation can happen when someone's vulnerable and searching for help.
And that applies anywhere, right? Spiritual advice, financial help, therapy, mentorship, any situation where you're seeking guidance.
Yeah, the source really highlights the need for discernment. Just because someone presents themselves as a helper doesn't mean they have ethical intentions.
It's a potent reminder to stay aware. Aware of how interactions might be changing you, your behavior, your relationships, your finances especially.
Be vigilant, particularly if one person seems to be gaining way too much influence or control over another.
It's a tough story. Vulnerability, desperation, seeking answers, and the potential for being seriously preyed upon. The mother needed something, but that need was allegedly exploited, nearly destroying her family.
Which leaves us with that final thought, echoing the themes from the source. How does the power of belief, suggestion, maybe manipulation, intersect with our search for external guidance?
And thinking about those red flags we saw in this story, the behavior changes, the money drain, pulling away from family, what are those critical signs we need to watch for in any relationship where one person seems to have a lot of sway, to make sure we keep our autonomy, protect ourselves?
Yeah, that's definitely something to think about long after you've heard the story.